Hi, welcome to Echoes and Embers podcast, brought to you by Florida Farrier Service. I'm Terry, and
I'm Clayton, and I'd like to introduce to you our guest today, Mr. Janek Vluggen. He's an osteopath based out of Holland. He's now a resident here in Ocala, and we're very blessed to have him here today.
absolutely. Thank you for joining us, Janek.
Thank you.
So, in this episode, we're going to talk about equine osteopathy, what it is, why it matters, and how it helps horses move, feel, and perform better when taught well and done right. So, the first question is, what led you to pursue equine osteopathy, and how was your journey shaped? How has your journey shaped your approach today?
Well, I started out as a physical therapist years ago, and during my physical therapy practice, I was studying osteopathy and at the academy in Ghent, Belgium. And at the time, Pascal Evera was my fellow student, and we were supposed to practice on people, but we both had horses at home, and we just started doing these things on horses. And I said, look there, these horses respond on that, and we notified each other, hey, are you doing that too? Yes, I'm doing that too. And from there it just grew. Every time we came back from school and back to the school, we were talking to each other and we were just lifting each other up. And by the end of it, we were treating horses the same way as we were doing people. The point is that the principles of osteopathy are applicable to any mammal. They all have nervous systems, they all have muscle and skeletons, they all have a balance of motion, and so you can apply the same principles. They're different dimensions, but all the rest is the principle is the same, it's applicable. So that's how that came.
That's wonderful. Awesome. How would you explain equine osteopathy to someone who's only ever heard of a chiropractor or physical therapy?
That's a good one. As you see a horse or a human or other mammal, we have a certain balance, how we move, how we express ourselves, and we're all day long under influence of external, internal influences that we have to adapt to. And part of it, the horse, is how we manage them, how we ride them, what job he has, and how we keep them, how we feed them. And the only thing that horse has against these influences, is his vitality. And that vitality comes with motion, like on everybody, like on us, on these animals too. So what we want is that horse stays in a good, healthy balance. So we give him, by mobilizing on all different levels, we mobilize on the skeleton level, on a muscular level, on a joint level, on an organ level, even on a craniosacral level. That's another system that we can approach and assess. And what we try is to make that horse capable of adapting so it can stay in that circle of healthy balance. So it's not really that we are healing a horse. We're not. We're just presenting the mobility so that horse can do that itself.
So for kind of information for people that better understand, like farriers like me, I understand balance and I understand all that, but basically, from what I understand, Yannick is treating not the symptom but the problem. Just as, and he can give an example of what's happening. For example, let's give an example. I've got a horse with front feet that don't grow. What are the possibilities that can happen without just me providing a shoe with a pad and the foot's still not growing, or things like that? We've got vascular that things are out and things are not feeding it.
That foot still needs its nutrients to be able to grow. It still needs blood flow in there. Well, there's many of places where that can go wrong. I always tell the same example. If we breathe, our diaphragm has to move in and up, and that is kind of like a pump. So every time you breathe, you're actually pumping blood into your legs and pumping blood back to your heart. Now, the first thing we do on a horse is put a saddle on and cinch him up.
Right.
That's going to restrict how he's going to breathe. That's a simple example. That's going to restrict how he's going to breathe. But that means, if you're just keeping it simple, is what you breathe in and what you breathe out. If you breathe oxygen in, so oxygen is necessary for all combustion processes, then you will not have enough oxygen in, but you will also not breathe enough carbon dioxide out. Well, carbon dioxide becomes in your body
Toxicity.
acidic. So that kidney tries to work that out. So the kidney has to work harder. So there's where we're going to see things happening. So there's all kind of chain reactions in that body. And we're just talking about breathing.
Basics. Yeah, basic breathing.
So even breathing can stop the front feet from growing as they should. And see, those are things we address then. So you can work on the diaphragm, you can work on the blood supply in those front limbs. There's many of problems in that body that can disturb that breathing. A rib, we're sitting on it.
And I bring up those scenarios because Janek and I have worked on cases like that, and they have it's been very, 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 very beneficial. Because I have particular horses that we just can't get them right. We can't get them right, and we send them to Janek, and all of a sudden this horse that hasn't grown any foot and it's been shelly for 5 years or 10 years or however long, and all of a sudden, he makes me look good because now we're growing feet. And it's my job to maintain what he did. Because if I don't do my job, he doesn't look good either.
That goes both ways.
So, I think that was a very good point there.
So basically, we're addressing things to address the whole horse.
Yes.
So that everything works together and we have the movement it needs for it to do well completely.
Yeah, and I like the approach of doing that together, because if I change a horse's way of motion, then the feet are going to be
They won't
used
be right.
different. So I'm changing your rules. So
You're changing my rules.
if the feet stay that way and I change the horse, then that's going to come back in that horse. So then we need to adapt again, and that is the good thing in working that out together.
And it's not a one and done fix all the time.
No.
It takes time between each person that's working on the horse to do what they need to do in order to get back to the level that the horse needs.
And some of the time, we get these horses in, and I know these farriers get their feelings hurt when the chiropractor or whatever says, just take the shoes off for right now. And they're right, because once the osteopaths or your body workers or whatever, when they're telling you that, there's a reason for that. They're not trying to hurt your feelings or say you're a terrible farrier or anything like that. These shoes got to come off for a reset. The body needs to reset itself.
Yeah, the feet need to adapt for a while, and I think if you assess a horse today and you would immediately change those feet, I think that you're going to have some changes in the long run going on.
Yes.
Yeah.
You will be back. It may be detrimental, and it may slow the healing time down. The process. I mean, we've done it. Absolutely. We've done it, and I think young farriers up and coming, and they've worked hard, and they've done their internships and their apprenticeships, and they're going through the motions. And man, I know I was that guy. Pull the shoes off this horse, the body worker's coming, or the osteopath's coming, or whatever, and I'm like, man, why am I gonna pull the shoes off this horse? And the reason they ask you to do that is as soon as they change that horse, that shoeing cycle is no longer good.
Yeah,
Things change. So the best thing to do at that point is hopefully the body worker, the osteopath, can pull the shoes themselves, or there's a vet there that can pull them, and then you not see that horse for 4 to 5 weeks.
What happens is that that horse comes in with a certain balance. It moves the way it moves. And whether that balance is right or wrong, at that point it doesn't matter. Now we're gonna push, pull, mobilize things on that horse, so we actually disturb that old balance. Whether it was right or wrong, we disturb that because we are giving the horse mobility.
Yes.
Yeah, we're giving that horse mobility somewhere that he didn't have before. So now that horse needs to find a new equilibrium, a new balance with the new gained mobility.
Yes.
That means those feet need to adapt for a while. They can expand, and then they need to adapt in that balance. So that's where we need farrier again. And that can take a while.
As simple as a club-footed with contracted heels. You know, I have one case that we've been working on. Janek and I have been working on. This horse was club-footed, contracted heels, and I'm telling you, like super tight. I was crowning him. I was putting frog supports on him, doing everything I could to try to get this horse's foot right. And Janek worked on this horse a couple of times, and we didn't even stop shoeing him. I just kept shoeing him the same way. And now, to the untrained eye, you cannot tell it's a club foot. And I fought this horse for over a year. And then when Janek started working on him, that foot is opened up, it's functional, and that's the best foot on his body.
Yeah, but that's the same thing at the moment that starts changing, because his whole body is changing. We need to react. We need to get that foot adapting to the changes that are coming. If that would not happen, that foot still would not.
We were very lucky you saw that horse, and I saw that horse a week later. You know, so that worked out almost perfect.
It's kind of like muddy waters. You put a boat in the ocean and you stir everything up and move everything around, and then you've got to wait for those muddy waters to clear out to be able to see what you need to see.
Mm-hmm.
What philosophies or principles guide your work with the horse?
That's another one. That's a hard one himself. You want to hear the principles of osteopathy, I guess. Mm-hmm. So we can say that. One of the principles in osteopathy is cause and result. That's maybe one of the most important one. You change one thing, it's going to have a cascade of results in the rest of the body. So whether you change the feet or you change that body, I will have a result on those feet. Mm-hmm. If he changed the feet, he will have a result on that body. Mm-hmm. That's maybe one of the biggest things in osteopathy, that we keep asking why is this happening? Well, because of this. Why is this happening then? Because of that. We said earlier already, breathing. Mm-hmm. When that horse is not breathing right, the gas exchange is not right. The kidney needs to work harder. His heart rate goes up because he needs more oxygen, so that heart starts pumping. Mm-hmm. So there are all things that are happening just because he's not breathing right, just because we put a saddle on that horse. I'm not even sat on it, we just cinch him up. And things are already changing. So yeah, there's always a cause and result thinking in osteopathy. The other principle of osteopathy is that the function determines the structure. So that means if I use a structure in a certain way, that function is going to adapt. Mm-hmm. That structure is going to adapt. So if a hoof is used this way, it's going to flare out that way.
It's going to flare out that way.
Or the heels are going to disappear, or the toe is going to disappear, or whatever, depending on how that horse is using that leg. Mm-hmm. You change that structure, he's also going to change the way he's going to use it.
Right.
So that always goes both ways. If I use a joint wrong, that joint is going to get in trouble. And I'm going to change the way I'm going to function with it. So the function determines the structure, and the structure determines the function. That's a very fine balance between the two. Another principle of osteopathy, of course, is that we always have to look at the whole horse. We cannot just look at a local thing.
Absolutely.
You always have to integrate that whole horse. You cannot say, well, the foot, we have a local problem, we need to solve that there. No, you're going to go all the way back till the TMJ, until the head, until the neck, and the way he breathes or the way he's moving in his back end, that all determines what his organs are doing inside. It's determining how he's moving. So that's all determining what that hoof is going to do. I cannot just look at a local thing. One of the examples I always use is horses that strain their tendons. There's not many people that consider that a bad gut of a horse, a dysbiosis in the gut, can affect the tendon so much. So you can locally treat that tendon, you can train that horse back again, but if that gut stays so bad, that tendon is not quality right for the strain we're going to put on it, it's going to happen again. Those things. It's always the whole horse.
Well, it's no hidden secret. What we put in our bodies affects how we perform.
Yeah, absolutely.
Horses as well.
Yeah.
So I mean, like you said, that gut. If you're putting crap in that horse, and you only fix that gut, and you're putting that same bad diet into that horse, it doesn't go away.
It ain't going to take long, it comes back.
It doesn't take long, it comes right back. For example, ulcers. I mean, you can treat those ulcers. We can treat those ulcers, they can go away. He'll do good and things are doing good. But if we don't change the diet, we don't change our stress levels, we don't change our regimens, those ulcers come back. And it's
Every time.
That's true. And I know I'm just a farrier, but I've learned so much working around the osteopathy world, and I think every farrier should be involved in it. Because it will change the way they do things. It will change the way they evaluate horses. It will change their whole thought process. I mean, we've saved a lot of laminitis horses just by diet.
This is one of the interesting things, one of the last principles of osteopathy, and it's kind of where osteopathy gets the kind of woo-woo name. They're always talking about the own body forces that are capable of healing yourself. Actually, if you say it that way, people go, "Yeah, how is that going to happen?" But the horse has a whole lot of defense and alarm systems that are working.
Right.
You can adapt, you can compensate a whole lot of things. So that will take care of things that go wrong. We adapt. But once we get out of these adaptation possibilities, we're going to adapt in the wrong direction. And that's where things go wrong.
That's where things go wrong.
So if I can provide that mobility back, then that horse goes back in an adaptive system and he's fine.
Yeah,
and the inflammation or the strain or whatever disappears and that tissue heals.
Yeah, I've always kind of looked at it, even before I got involved with osteopathy. You'll hear these horses, well, he's not lame, he's just not working well, or he's not running as hard, or he's not jumping dead correct, and I always say that it's like a car that's having troubles. They set these computer things up to go into limp mode, so you can only drive it so fast. Well, those horses are not doing that intentional. That body went into limp mode. And that's kind of the way I've always looked at it. It tries to save itself without self-destructing.
Absolutely.
That's what the body always does. It always preserves from damage. It adapts. It has all these alarm systems. It can do that, but till a certain extent, and then goes wrong.
Right.
It can only adapt so much, and then things go wrong.
For so long.
Yep.
Okay, so how do you assess a horse before beginning treatment? What would you say you do? If you have a horse coming in and you've never seen it before and you want to determine what you need to do for this horse, how do you start?
For me, it's always very important to know if this is my horse to assess. If that is a horse that I can help with osteopathy, or that this horse needs a veterinarian or other imaging or whatever. So I always want to find out very fast my red flags and yellow flags. So yes, you see a horse coming out of the trailer, and you look at the fur, you look at the skin, you look at the general build of that horse, at the muscle development. Where is he developing his muscle? Where is he not? Where is he sweating? For instance, many horses come out of the trailer, you see them sweat in their groins, you see them sweat behind the elbow, and then he comes further out of the trailer backwards, and then you see him sweat in the lower part of his neck. And we all think that that is normal because we see so many that way. But that's not normal. If a horse sweats, he sweats everywhere, you know? He's not going to sweat on those spots. So if you know that we have an automatic nerve system that keeps you in unbalance, so you can stimulate that, or you can slow that down a little bit. So if you start running, you don't need to pump up your heart, that goes automatic. So and that system, for instance, takes care of the sweat glands too. So if I have somewhere in that neck problems, that system is irritated, I'm gonna, with a little bit more stress, I'm gonna sweat exactly there. So you can already see those things from afar. Now, so that gives you a general impression. You're gonna ask a lot of questions, how long, what, and whatever. The problem with clients, trainers, owners is always that they bring you the horse because the horse cannot do what they want him to do. And it's our job to figure out why he's not, or should he, can he? So yeah, I want to know pretty fast my my red flags, because we osteopaths, we only look for mobility. We don't look for pathology. The pathology is for the veterinarian, it's not for us. So if there are structural damages and things going on like that, that's not our horse. That's
you need to know that right away.
And I need to know that. So yes, that's where I go like, we have to bring this horse to the veterinarian. We have to have some imaging. If I can do what I'm supposed to do or what I want to do, if I'm actually allowed to do that on that horse. So that's why I like the combination with veterinary medicine and with farriership, and even with the dentistry, in order to work together as a team to figure out where we need to go, where we need to be. Pathology is not for us, it's for the veterinarian. And pathologies in feet and in teeth, that it's not for us. We don't address that. It's always fun to say that. What is the difference between veterinary medicine and what is the difference between osteopathic medicine? I hate the word medicine behind osteopathy, because that's actually not what it is. It's not medicine, It's not really medicine. What we do is we're looking for health. And we're trying to
make the animal healthier.
Make that horse adapt so he can use his own health to heal himself. That's what we do. As soon as that is not possible, well, we need a veterinarian, we need a doctor.
You know, so for the audience, guys, veterinarians are a huge part of this. You're a huge part of it if you're a farrier. But there are some things that go along with veterinarians and osteopathy that really benefit one another, and that will, you know, we get into that we could be here all night. So
examples enough. Yes.
Yeah.
And everybody's just a spoke in the wheel. It takes everybody working together in order for that horse to heal and become the horse it needs to be.
Yeah. So for all you young farriers and vets and everybody that can see the benefit of it, is you got to learn the terminology. You got to understand what they see. Because I will tell you, it will change your career. And I can't tell you that enough.
It was the piece of the puzzle you were missing.
It was the piece of puzzle that I've been looking for 30 years. You know, and honestly, I think, you know, I'm almost 35 years in, or maybe 35 years in. When I met Janek and his people and his team and that work with him and all that, I think it was probably 4 years ago?
Probably.
Yeah,
when you met Dr. Mailer?
Somewhere around in there, when I met Dr. Mailer. It was the piece of puzzle that I needed to understand. Um, and you know, I thought I was doing well, you know, but osteopathy opened my eyes. The mechanical side of it, the vascular side of it, as a farrier it's huge, you know. So find you an osteopath and get to understand them.
Absolutely. It's benefited
Mm-hmm.
our business substantially for the horse.
Mm-hmm.
What are some subtle signs that a horse might show when something is off that the owners may overlook? I think sweating is the patchy sweating spots is something that you just mentioned, but what else can you think of that an owner overlooks?
There's a whole lot of things that I think that we take for granted and that we see as dogmatic right, which is not right. How many horses cannot see right? How many horses cannot smell right? How many horses have a disturbed equilibrium? All because of problems in their TMJs, all because of problems of chewing. The chewing is the start of digestive tract, of the whole metabolism.
Right.
And what that chewing does for the stomach, that stomach needs to prepare when we chew. The chewing itself is the signal for the stomach to start preparing.
Absolutely.
Food is coming. You know, we need acid in there. We need that mucosa wall in that stomach needs to be thicker and so on. And that all goes on behalf of that they start chewing. For instance, there's ways that a horse take a left lead or a right lead, or they jump constantly over, or you have a horse that was perfect the other week and now you crawl on him and he starts bucking. And sometimes it's just a matter of he's moving in a certain pattern and he's done adapting. He cannot adapt more, and something goes. He steps in a hole, or he lays and rolls over a stone, or whatever, and now you have another force brought into that problem line,
Right.
and now you have two forces working against each other, and it's going to hurt. And we constantly have to think. We put a saddle on there, we put our weight on there. That horse is going to respond on that.
Yes, he's going to respond.
So that is absolutely science where there needs to be looked further. Horses that go asymmetric, horses that can bend to the left, can not bend to the right, horses that tilt their heads, horses that stop eating. Is it maybe that it all smells bad? Does he have something in his sinuses going on, or in his craniosacral system? That system ends there where that nerve comes through. So those things happen. Or here's the stud that doesn't want to breathe,
Right.
because he cannot smell the pheromones.
Right.
Something like that. For instance,
Right.
it's an interesting example.
Yeah.
But we've had horses like that, and you can restore that mobility there. That nerve frees up. He can smell, and well, he's happy with the
That's
mare
it.
suddenly.
Yeah.
Little things,
We're
but
bringing
actually
both
big
together.
things. Yeah. So there's a whole lot of
The broad spectrum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
a broad spectrum
And
where
that's just a few little
Yep.
points, right?
What types of conditions or movement patterns are you most commonly called in to help?
well, that's what I said earlier. Most of the time, we're called for things that the owner, the trainer, has a horse that doesn't do what they want that horse to do. And then most of the time, we are at the end of the trail.
Yes.
That we are
You're their
called.
last hope.
Yeah, we've gone everywhere. So now, and I'm not saying we are almighty there, that we can solve every problem, but most of the time it could have been prevented.
Yes.
That it wouldn't have happened. And that is where I think the strength of the osteopathy lays, to be able to not have that happen and not let it get that far.
Yes. Yeah. And
Because when it gets that far, we're actually done.
right.
That's where the veterinarian comes in, and now we have a pathology going on, and that needs to heal.
It needs to heal.
That we can help there, getting more vascularity in, and that it might not happen again. Yes, but then you're actually too late, and that is what I see happening.
Right. And that's kind of like for us too, we're usually the last stop. Like they've tried everything else and every other farrier and nothing works. And we're usually the last stop. And a lot of times by the time they get here, the amount of time it takes to get back to where it needs to be has been prolonged because we have to start.
Yeah.
When it's broken,
It's
you gotta,
really broken.
It's gonna heal.
And then, you know, then the restoration process is a failure.
And that can take a long time
Mm-hmm.
once it's structurally damaged.
Right.
100%.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So how do you see the relationship between hoof balance and body balance?
That goes both ways. The body interferes with how the hoofs develop, and the hoofs interfere with how the body develops. There is, last 15 years, the fascia has become very, very popular, and I think that in time that becomes more and more important. And you see how that fascia actually in that body, if that body starts changing, we have horses that hang forward, we have horses that hang backwards, we have horses with a sway back, that it is all in that fascial draw, but it's all changing how he positions his feet.
Right.
So changing the feet can change how that horse is having that fascial draw in his body, but the fascial draw in his body can change the way he's going to use his feet. And then we come to the same point again: function determines structure.
Right. Right.
And that is absolutely very important. And we are not farriers, but we see the fascial draw in that horse. We see what it's doing in the feet.
And that's one thing I've learned to do is see the fascial draw. And really, honestly, it took one time, and I think it was Ashley that showed it to me, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's it.
That light bulb went off.
Yeah, yeah. She showed it to me, you know, and it's for as simple as low angles on hind feet. You know, we're causing hock stifles, SI problems, and all that. And you know, these horses want to stand camped and under themselves and balancing on their front feet in a tennis ball, on a basketball. Well, once them angles get dropped and things are not in the right place, it starts a draw on that fascial, and that's their relief. They're getting tension off of that fascia.
What I always give as an example in class is what a lot of people don't realize is that the hoof is a hanging system. It's a suspension system,
Right.
Because we have suspenders.
Yes.
You know, the horse has a suspensory. Yeah, we're saying it, but are we really aware of what that means? That means that we have suspenders in the front and in the back that are moving the foot. That means if the suspender is going to be contracted because something happened up there, and that we're going to have change of the balance of that foot. In class, I say, you know, as a child, we stole the cans out of the kitchen of mom, put holes in it with ropes, and start walking.
Right.
And if you pull too much on one side of the rope, your can went. Well, that's actually exactly what that hoof is doing. So if I have that whole fascial system up there, and that's kind of like a pulley system on the hoofs, well, then everything that changes there is changing how the feet are going.
Right.
And vice versa. And vice versa.
Absolutely. That's a great way to look at it and explain it.
Yeah. You guys, and the guys, there's some great diagrams out there on the internet about fascia lines and all that stuff, and look that up. It's actually, it's really cool, and then if you can get someone to really explain it to you, it'll help you a lot.
Yeah, if you see how much your hock and your stifle, for instance, is in a fascial manner completely attached to your hyoid and your TMJ, it's amazing to see those things.
It's all connected. It's you know, and guys, as simple as a bad hoof angle, a bad hind hoof angle can cause TMJ problems, and vice versa.
Yeah, it can.
And vice versa. Yeah. And if we catch that at these early ages of these young horses, as their problems, maybe they had an accident, maybe they pulled back on the halter, maybe something happened weird, we really avoid, you know, could be catastrophic career injuries, endings. Absolutely. You know, it could be major problems down the road. You know, so if we catch those as early as we can and treat them as fast as we can, these horses will perform better and they will last longer.
especially in the young horses, because it goes so fast.
Mhm.
It develops so fast.
Mhm.
We see horses in their 10 years old and older that where permanent problems start, and you go again to your cause and result, and you come all the way back and you see, well, there was an injury back then as a foal, he did this and this and this, and yeah, he has adapted in that whole body that way.
Right.
And the farrier has been fighting that for
His whole life. Right. His whole life. And the farrier works on him enough that he figures out a way just to keep him sound and keep him going. Yeah.
Yeah, because until it's addressed, it's not going to change.
Right.
This one's tough. What is something you wish every farrier understood about how hoof alignment affects the rest of the body? So the hoofs being balanced and aligned properly, how it affects the rest of the body. What's something that you wish a farrier would understand?
that we can help him.
Yeah,
And that he helps me.
Yeah.
I make him look good and he makes me look good.
absolutely. It's a team.
It's a team. That's absolutely the thing that you need to answer there.
Well,
Absolutely.
And I think it'd be huge for the farriers to understand cause and effect of what they do to the rest of the body.
What I see is that farriers are every 4 to 8 weeks fighting the same problem on the feet. And you're like, yeah, but that's actually not the problem. The problem is that TMJ up there. If you change that, that hoof's going to change. And then you don't need to struggle anymore to do it you can actually change the horse now.
You can actually change the horse.
And that's the same for me. If that hoof will not adapt, if you as a farrier will not adapt to the new mobility that horse has, that TMJ keeps going wrong.
It's going to go right back.
You know, and you horse owners out there and farriers, you know, for so many years we hear, well, that's just the horse. That's how he is.
Confirmation, sure, but
Yeah, confirmation, sure. But you know, if you got a pretty decent confirmation and everything's kind of where it's going, and he's got a severe low foot that's pancaking out and blowing apart, guys, learn when to call the osteopath. When in you know, what's the worst thing? You call the osteopath and he goes, "Hey, I can't help this horse." You try.
that's what I think is the best thing to do. You always try, don't give up. Yeah. There's a lot more possible till a certain range.
Right.
Absolutely. And the certain range is always the structural damage. That's where the wall comes for us. And that's where we need the farriers, and we need the team, and we need the veterinarian to go like, yeah, but this is pathology, guys. We need to do something about that.
Yes.
That's not
That's not your wheelhouse, right?
And your success rates will go up. If you build a team of professionals that are there for the whole horse and to do what's best for the horse, the success rates will go up.
Absolutely.
There's no way around it.
And here's the biggest
Absolutely,
part of it.
for everybody involved.
The biggest part of it is build that team, and none of you can stop learning. Because the minute you stop learning, that team fails. You know?
It is and stays a journey.
No.
I learn every day, every horse.
Absolutely. It's continuous learning.
Yes.
Continuous learning. It's
And
something that never stops.
The more fun it gets, guys, is when you obtain enough knowledge that you are able to teach yourself and it be constructive. I think that's probably that's the I'm having the most fun now than I've ever had in my career, because it's
You're seeing the results.
yeah, I see the results.
I knew as an osteopath what I could accomplish and what I could not accomplish. Well, adding dentistry, adding veterinary medicine, adding farriership, that makes my world so much more fun.
That just opens the doors.
Yeah, because now I know that I don't need to see that horse anymore in 3 months. I can see that horse maybe once a year, and he's still in balance, good, fine.
Right.
And with good balancing of the hoofs, once that body is in balance, that keeps going. That horse stays adaptable and it's fine.
Your dentist is doing his job, and
Yeah.
the farrier's doing his job, and you know, we work out the little kinks for conditioning and training and things like that, and these horses stay good.
I see many times, because we ride these horses, so we always causing something in these horses.
Right.
Horses are actually not really made to be ridden, but we have a lot of fun with it. So our responsibility is to keep them strong and flexible, and so we can keep having fun. But I see a lot of people that go like the first time they come to me, and then in 3 months one more time, and then and half a year, and then once a year. Once that is as a team approach, that horse is balanced, and you see him back in a year, and he's built up some things, but he's not in trouble because he's still
not in trouble no more,
he's still adaptable. His hoofs are doing good, his body is doing good. He just has something because whatever happened on a jumping show or on a dressage show or on the road in the trailer, things happen.
Or just slip, come out.
You're just maintaining at that point. You're not trying to fix.
You're, at that point, you can maintain that balance, and that horse stays good for many, many years.
Absolutely. And we've seen it before our eyes. I mean,
Oh, absolutely.
I can say that watching it is incredible, but then when you see something and you're like, holy cow, did I really just see that? And I think that's when you realize that everybody working together and doing their part, it just opens up so many doors, like you said, and it gives that horse so many more opportunities.
And the good part is people start learning. The farriers start learning. This horse, they pick up how many horses' legs on a day.
Right.
And they feel the difference. This one can bend there, this one cannot. This one, I struggle to get this leg here over my knee, and this one needs to see an osteopath. They cannot pinpoint this is wrong with that horse, and we see that horse, and then he goes like,
Right. Yeah. Made their job a lot easier.
Or as simple as a horse with thrush for 5 years. They go see him, and all of a sudden you go back in 5 weeks and you peel the frog out of it, and because the thrush is on. Because it's
nutrition. You've got their body working.
It's getting there, so it can heal itself.
And that's all we do.
Right.
And that goes a far way. That goes with anatomy, that goes with neurology, that goes with the knowledge of your blood vessels and where can they be obstructed and how are they taken care of by the neurology. So where is that neurology? Where are the buttons? That's what we learn as osteopaths. Where are those buttons?
There's way more to it than my brain can understand, so that's why I got you.
Yes.
Absolutely. We're just lucky that he's right here.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about education and misconceptions.
Okay.
What are the biggest misconceptions about equine osteopathy in the broader equine community?
That's a mean one. that we are chiropractors. We're not. I have full respect for all chiropractors. They have wonderful techniques. I learned a lot of those techniques too. But we're not chiropractors. We look at the whole horse as a bunch of systems that work together, and that all these systems need to work right in order to have that horse move right and be in balance. So we assess what we call the parietal system, which is all the joints and the muscles. So we do all these techniques on joints that are not moving. We mobilize them with several ways that is possible. We do myofascial techniques and so on, but we also treat the visceral system. Because what a lot of people don't understand is that the visceral system is affecting that parietal system, that skeleton and that muscular system so much. There's actually more neurology going from your organs to your spine, affecting the mobility of your spine than reversed. So this means actually if you would only adjust the horse, that you're actually in that part of your neurology assess, and if you would treat that visceral system with it, you have almost 4 times more effect on that mobility in that spine than anything else. And that is what a lot of people don't realize. The third system is that craniosacral system. That's where it very fast goes into, oh, that's woo, that's not scientific and so on. But that motion is measured. That motion is proven, that cerebrospinal fluid is there. And it's kind of funny to if you read the researchers on it, that just recently when we're talking about fascia, in the last 15 years so popular, that in 2015 they discovered that cerebrospinal fluid, so the fluid that is produced in your central nerve system, that goes through your spinal cord and with your peripheral nerves all the way to your tissue. In 2015. Well, if you read the literature, in 1672, there was an Italian guy that said exactly that.
Wow.
So this is not something that is new. We are just rediscovering. And we have been talking about this for so long, and this is how this happens. And this is how that fascial fluid gets polluted and that cerebrospinal system gets in trouble. And we just rediscovered that. So we have to read our scientific research.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm happy that they rediscovered it.
Right.
But
That
actually,
didn't affect you anyway.
it didn't affect me. But we see a lot of those things that we now rediscover what actually was known back then.
It's kind of cool how that.
That's kind of cool, but also kind of sad.
Yes, it
that
is.
we have lost a whole lot of things, and now bringing them back, and we see, hey, these guys knew this back then.
Which is why it's so important to continue educating.
Right. Right. Because things get lost.
Mm-hmm.
Information gets lost. It gets hidden, you know, and it's not intentional. It's just
the whole situation with the TMJ and the feet. I started looking more into that when I was working with a dentist from Maryland. She showed things on the teeth that affected these horses so much that I was like, this is kind of incredible.
yeah. When you showed me those things, I was like, it was unbelievable.
And then I started diving into that because I didn't know, and she was actually the one pushing me to find more out of that, and I thought I was onto something. Mm-hmm. You know, this nobody's talking about this. Till I start looking in the old papers, and it's right there.
It's right there in front of you.
And I did not learn this in school either. I had to go back and find in the old papers what these old guys were saying about these things, and it was all there. And I thought, I have to find something new here. Yeah. There was nothing new about that.
Nothing new about it.
We cool. just forgot this. And in the beginning, my education about the TMJ and everything was about 50 pages. It's now 170 pages because of that.
Yeah.
And it was through the dentistry that I was brought onto that.
I mean, it's like that day you had me stick my hand on that horse's mouth and feel that horse's palate. And then he's like, looked at his feet. I was like, you've got to be kidding me.
Yeah. And instantly.
Yes.
That's the weird thing.
As soon as you release that horse's palate,
instantly,
the feet straightened out.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and this horse was standing in comfort stall mat, so it was in your face. You know, you couldn't deny it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to what Janek said about, losing things, and you said about losing things, that's why it's so important when somebody that is older and has experiences for us to sit and watch and listen to what they have to say, because they have more to offer than we realize. And a lot of times we just want to, run away. We don't want to sit down and listen. But in those times is when we hear the things that we're like, oh my gosh, it makes sense now. And you can transfer that over to how you're, doing your job.
Yeah.
So if you wouldn't have taken the time to listen to that dentist, even though she's not an older person, it's everybody.
She made sure that I listened.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So,
There was no denying her, was she? Mm-hmm. You're going to sit here.
Mm-hmm. And it made a huge
And I'm so grateful for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. And just like we're so grateful that you take the time to explain it to us, because, we have seen things before our eyes that before Clayton would have probably called witchcraft, I think, or something like that. So it's, one of those things where it's right in front of your
That is always
face.
the fun part, that we have students in our classes, veterinarians, and they're always a little bit reluctant because they go like, we're going here to the dark side, we're going to the witchcraft side.
Hokey, yeah.
And then you start talking about things and they go like, you haven't said anything that I have not been taught in veterinary class.
Right.
Yeah, but you're not using it in a functional way.
Right.
That's the difference.
Right.
Yeah, you're applying it in a
And they all go
different
like,
manner.
yeah, it absolutely makes sense what you're saying. We don't have a functional application
The
for that,
education is very
for
similar.
that anatomy and physiology that you're explaining. You haven't explained anything that we haven't been taught, but we forget it because we're not using it in a functional manner.
Right.
That's what we do. That's the difference.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And that's great to be able to do that, and that they see that way too. Because with all the veterinarians that have been there, they all go like, there's nothing new about this.
No.
It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah. It's proven in vet school. Right.
Yeah.
It's there.
The fun part is if you see, you were talking about the older people to listen to. I've worked with veterinarians of 75, 80 years old. I call them just osteopaths.
Right.
They have the same mentality.
They didn't have the ultrasound. They didn't have all the imaging possibilities that we have today. And they had to listen with a horn to that heart, and they can hear these beats, and it's amazing what I've learned from those people. And the way they were looking at how that horse was moving, I've learned a lot from the veterinarians.
And that's me as well. You know, I mean, I kind of forgot a bunch of stuff because, you know, we have lameness locators now where we put these sensors on them and we watch them and we can record the stride and look at it and all that. And we have digital x-rays now. We can take a picture right then and there, trim the foot, take another picture, and it proves to you what we did. You know, the ultrasounds now, you know, we can look at these horses right then and there and do what we've got to do if we have injuries.
By the way, that we can.
Oh,
Right.
absolutely.
Right. And I got wrapped up in it a little bit, you know, there for quite a while. And then I got involved with the osteopathic part of it. And I was like, you know what? A lot of this stuff that I'm depending on technology, I can watch these horses. I can pay attention to these horses. And these people don't have to spend a whole bunch of money on technology and exams and all that. If I can watch this horse and go, here's our problem. Now, we're not x-raying all 4 feet. We're not ultrasounding the whole leg or both front legs. You know, I can help my vet give that vet the information that they need. And everyone wins. The vet's not spending 5 hours on this animal, and he or she can get to the next client. The client is not spending a bunch of money, and we get to the root of the problem. Or it's as simple as, you know what? We need to call the osteopath. You know, so by watching these horses move and learning postures and the way they present, I mean, as simple as you put one in the cross ties and he's standing there in the wash stall and the cross ties are in the barn and the cross ties, and he's most comfortable leaning on the cross tie with his head tilted. You know, or you look at him and his whole face is shifted to one side. You know, I'm not a dentist. I'm a farrier, but I can point you in the right direction.
And you need to be able of seeing. That's one of the harder things. Not everybody sees that either.
Right, you have to have an eye for it. But that's when the whole team comes together and works together to do what needs to be done to get that horse to where it needs to be. I think I'm gonna like the answer to this one. Have you ever treated a horse that others had given up on?
Several. There is I always explain the story about the director of the zoo in England, that they had 50 horses that were diagnosed by 2 independent veterinarians. They're pasture ornaments now, not functional anymore, and they started osteopathy on them. And from the 50, there were 48 back to work.
Wow.
And with one going to the Olympics.
Wow.
And one horse they didn't find back anymore information later. So that absolutely happens.
That's huge.
And I've been exposed to horses that people gave up on. Yes, but everything is always a bell's curve. You know, if you look at the amount of horses that are really in trouble, I always say that no matter what we do, no matter what the farrier does, no matter what the dentist does, no matter what the veterinarian does, that horse is going to die anyway.
Right.
And then on the other spectrum there, that's the horses, in spite of what we do, they're going to survive and they're going to be champions anyway.
Yes.
Right.
But between those extremes, you have a whole bunch of horses that are on the spectrum to go to be a horse that's going to die, or that's the horse that could be the champion. Now, I think for us, it's very important to the horse that threatens to go to be the horse that is about to die, to get him a decent, non-suffering horse that can function well without problems. And maybe that horse that will never be the champ, we can get him the champ.
Right.
And that we've done that.
Either way, we're winning.
Either way, you're winning. And I come across a lot of those horses, yes.
Have
Absolutely.
you seen horses that are more disposable now than they used to be?
Yes. And that's pretty sad,
It is sad.
that there's a tendency going on like, he's not performing, let's buy another one.
Right.
And let's see where we go with this one.
It's unfortunate. We do see it a lot too. But the other side of that is when we see somebody else that's taken that horse and made it way better than the old owner ever thought it could be. And then,
Yeah.
and
Seen that a lot?
Absolutely. And it's sad at the beginning, but then it's rewarding at the end when they get that opportunity to show that they just needed the right team to get them there.
Oh, we've seen that, absolutely. We've seen horses that in the cutting world in Texas, in Fort Worth, that were given up on. And they bring the horse to me, and then suddenly this horse goes to the finals in the futurity, for instance. We have seen that, yes.
And it's because you took the time to assess the whole horse, figure out what was going on. You gathered your team, and you did everything that you knew to do with your team to give that choice or that horse that opportunity.
So the moral of the story is we can't do it alone.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah, that's every time the same story.
Yeah. No matter
We
how
cannot
good
do it
you are,
alone.
what you do, you can't do it alone.
You need the farrier, you need the dentist, you need the veterinarian, and in a certain, you need the trainer and the saddle maker and all that.
Yeah. And for you English writers, we kind of haven't mentioned it. I don't know if we would have got around to it or not, maybe. Another part of that team is a saddle fitter.
Yep, absolutely.
Absolutely. What qualities make someone a good fit to learn equine osteopathy?
A good eye and good hands. So you have to be able to see it, and we can teach you till a certain extent, but there is some talent in seeing what is going on there, and I'm always happy that I can see that 3D in that horse. That is what I respect so much on Clayton as well. That was the first thing that I noticed when we got together on these horses, that he looks with 3D eye.
Yes.
And he can see what I see. He cannot pinpoint or translate in the words that I talk in, and I could not translate in the words that he talks in. But we both saw, but you see what is happening. We could start communicating with each other. And of course, being able to feel things, but that's also very much trainable.
Right.
So, but that's what I think is the most important.
And I
A
think-
good eye and good hands.
I think the biggest thing for me is I didn't get to that point till I started going, well, it's just not a horse's foot. It's connected to something. I didn't understand what. I didn't understand, I knew the old wise tale of no hoof, no horse. That's true. But to an extent, knowing what I know now, It's not. Because, you know, we talk about balance, we talk about this, we talk about balance this, balance that. Well, no one thing, I feel that's probably one of the most misused terms there is. You know, a balanced foot that doesn't stay balanced through its cycle, the horse is not balanced. A balanced saddle fit that's ever changing, the horse is not balanced. A balanced dental that is ever changing, there's always a big correction every time that dentist has to come back. There's something wrong. So I think the term balance, and I've always said it, is it goes from all your practitioners to your owners to your groom that's feeding them to the diet that goes in his body. Because a good shoe job and something else wrong, them feet aren't balanced.
You keep chasing the same thing.
You keep chasing the same thing.
It will reoccur. And you can correct that for a while.
Yeah.
And then it comes back.
You can maintain it. You can. I call it surviving it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
surviving.
That's a good term.
Yeah.
And we did that for a long time.
Did that for a long time.
Absolutely. How do you see the field of How do you see the field of equine osteopathy evolving in the next 10 years?
I think that that the importance of the osteopathy is going to be recognized more and more. We have been working on that pretty long, together with the veterinarian field and with the equine community. And I think that the bond as a team, osteopathy, farriers, veterinarians, that we see more and more the importance that we have to adjust all these stages. And I see that evolve more and more. When I started back then, I was asked to come to America, and so I did. And the resistance back then was enormous, not from the veterinarians in the field, but in general. And if I see, I was just the screaming one in the desert, and now there's so many osteopaths out there, and they're all working with veterinarians, and which I absolutely subscribe a lot that they're doing it. And they're all having fun doing it too. They're enjoying the results together. We have more and more veterinarians coming to us too and asking. So I absolutely see that the combination in the team membership being the spoke in the wheel will only increase.
Absolutely. And we can hope for that. And, you know, we talk about things that get lost. I remember years ago with my grandmother, her doctor was an osteopath. And then for years, I never heard anything about osteopathy until we met you. And then when I think back about it, I'm like, wait, this is what they were doing a long time ago. Where did it change? So it's one of those things that it worked really well. I mean, and there is a balance, right? With everything, like you said, a balance. But I think that we've forgotten some of the things that we used to do. And I think osteopathy is such a huge, huge part of finding the problem and not band-aiding it. So
Cause and result.
absolutely, absolutely. So, okay. If you could change one thing in the equine industry tomorrow, what would it be?
That we're not taking these horses for granted.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think
They're not machines.
They're not machines,
I think
you're right.
the other one could be diet. Diet.
They aren't machines. We say all the time, we don't have a junkyard where we can just go pull apart and put it in them. It doesn't
I tell
work
them
that
I'm
way.
not a mechanic.
It's a living creature.
Absolutely.
I say it all the time. I said I can't just change a part.
Absolutely.
You cannot fix by exchanging.
No.
It has to come from within.
Yeah, I deal with metal and composites, and I make all this fancy stuff and all these things. But at the end of the day,
It has to come from within.
Has to come
Absolutely.
within 100%.
And that is where you come with the diet. Yeah, that's one of the things that we have a dogmatic thinking about food of horses, and that first has to change. Too much sugar, too much proteins, too much from everything.
Too much everything.
The horse is a polar animal. That means it eats in the summer for the winter and changes complete digestive system in the winter, which we don't realize, or what a lot of owners, trainers don't realize. And we want to keep showing these horses in the winter, so we keep feeding them. So yeah, in the spring we get in trouble. That's where the phone calls come. Wow, horse founders.
Absolutely.
You know, and I never really thought about it till the other day when you said that, and then I was like, you know, I've seen a lot of people try to pull weight off of horses in the winter, and you told me, you know, you can't get a horse to lose weight in the winter. And I kind of think back, and I'm like, you know what, you're so right. You know, they've cut these horses' diet and metabolic problems in the fall of the year, and we're like, and she's like, I'm not giving him anything, and they just keep staying fat and fat and fat and fat, and we couldn't pull them down. You know, and I used to get aggravated with the clientele because I'm thinking she's fibbing to me. You know, they're fibbing to me. They didn't cut this horse's diet.
They're sneaking donuts.
Yeah, you know, they're sneaking, giving them treats and sneaking. And I call a lot of these feeds nowadays donuts. You know, there's so high in sugar and starch, and I'm like, God, I used to tell Terry, I said, they're not doing what I said. And I have said that. I think they're sneaking them donuts.
Yeah.
And then when you said that, I was like, oh man, got all mad at them people for nothing, you know?
Right. Okay, so now we're going to do like a rapid fire round. I'm going to ask you some questions and you're just going to answer them. They're going to be hopefully easy. So what's the one phrase you say all the time while teaching?
Let's get him moving, make him mobile.
Make them mobile. Yeah. Give them mobility. Absolutely. So what's your biggest osteopath pet peeve? Like the one thing you don't like hearing from other osteopaths?
They were chiropractors.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're not.
They're not.
Clayton's biggest pet peeve is when someone says they've never gotten a hot nail.
Yeah.
Yeah. The person that's never got a hot nail ain't never drove one.
It's going to
I've always
happen.
said that.
What's the craziest place you've ever had to work on a horse?
On the airport.
The airport.
Yep. There was a guy that bred the biggest horses in the world. That was the goal, to have the biggest horse. The names were Tarzan, Jane, Valkyrie, Samson, and he was on his way to Calgary, to the Calgary Stampede, and something happened to one of his horses, and I was on my way out. And he was trying to catch me, and you need to look at my horses because this and this and this. And I go like, well, I'm at the airport, I'm flying out. Well, and he happened to be very close to that airport, so he brings that horse to the airport, and I'm on the parking lot of the airport. I'm treating that horse.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
I bet that was an interesting sight for some people.
There has been many camera records.
Oh, I bet.
I've done them in Walmart parking lots and stuff, but that's got me.
Never the airport, huh?
And that was a big horse.
Wow. Do you have a favorite horse that you worked on?
Well, the favorite horse for me is the horse that actually brought me to the Western world in Fort Worth. When I came there as a non-cowboy, the wrong levis pants on. It was all Wrangler there. The wrong boots on, the wrong shirt on. I had a surfer shirt on, long hair, earrings, beret on my head. So I was not the typical cowboy. And here come these cowboys, and they want to see what you're doing. And so yeah, I looked at this horse. And there was a veterinarian there, and there was some other team people there that were doing physical therapy to horses, and they wanted to see what I did. And here I go. The actual problem with that horse was from being castrated, that in that inguinal ring there was some obstruction there, and that was in a fascial manner obstructing his whole stifle and hock area. So, and that was never addressed. And I go like, what am I going to tell these people? Do I have to do this? They look at me already like he's a weirdo.
You're already in cowboy land. So
And I'm already in cowboy land, and these cowboys are going to go like, what do you need to do? So I go like, well, this is osteopathy. This is what this is all about. So I better show them this is what I do.
Mm-hmm.
So I said I have to address that problem in that inguinal ring. And you did what? Wow. And then they all went in a stall behind because the people, they didn't want to show the people that I was doing this. So, well, let's go around here. And I did my thing, and that veterinarian was rubbing his chin and and I was done with that, and we're still talking. I'm trying to explain what I actually was doing, and here comes the owner of the horse, and he had to go right now in the show, and I was like, I hope that goes right. And they didn't tell him we used this horse as an example. I just thought this was a horse that they had there that needed assessment or whatever.
Show and they set you
And
up.
he had to go to the show right there. So he takes his horse to the show, and I'm going like, oh shit. And we're still talking there when he comes back after the show. And he sits on his horse there. And it was a paint horse. I'll never forget that. He sits on his horse, and he looks at me like, what do you do to my horse? And I was like, oh, not good. And then he starts telling me how this horse never could make that turn to the left because he was always weak in that stifle, and that he was awesome now, and he scored and won it.
Wow.
So
Wow.
that was like, whew.
Right. That was a good recovery.
But that was immediately also what attracted the attention of the veterinarian. You and I need to talk. You need to tell me how this happened.
Mm-hmm.
Why did this change so much in this horse?
Right.
And from there on, my name was Mr. Siemenkoord in Texas.
Ponytail guy.
the ponytail guy in black, Mr. Siemenkoord. That is also the problem that we have. Once I was doing that, it became very popular, the gelding scar, which is actually not. I really want to address that, because a scar, you cannot move, you cannot stretch, you cannot. It is actually obstruction in the layers of that inguinal ring once they cut off these testicles that pulls back, and that obstruction, now the testicle, the semen cord inside lays over the ureter, and that gets under strain. And that's where we get all that fascial problem from. And you can actually release that by opening that inguinal ring. So that's a totally different
right. It's a different
thing as the gelding scar.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what they start calling it there, and I could not stop that anymore. And suddenly that was all the gelding scar thing.
Right.
But that's not what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's what I always have to explain.
Okay, your next question. What do you think the most important tool in an equine osteopath is? The hands, the brain, or the eyes? I know we went over this, but...
Well, it's the eyes and the hands. He has to see it, and he has to be able to feel it. So we need to see that in a 3D manner, how that body of that horse is standing, where are the force lines in that horse, where is that fascia under strain, where are the structures under strain, what is normal, what is not normal. And being able to test that in motion, and that motion can be very subtle or can be very obvious.
Right.
So yeah, good hands, good eyes.
Good hands and good eyes. Okay. What do you think the most underappreciated structure in the horse is?
the whole horse.
I cannot really say an underappreciated structure. I absolutely think his strength is very important, but his mobility too. I think our biggest responsibility to the horse is that not if he can do that dressage with that extended trot or when he can jump that high, but if he's strong enough to do it.
Right.
So I think that the most thing we need to appreciate on that horse is keeping him strong and keeping him flexible so he can do what we ask for him.
Right.
We're going to sit on him where he's not made for,
Mm-hmm.
and we're going to let him do things that he's not supposed to do.
Right.
And so if we have fun with that, that is all fine. Then we also have the responsibility to keep him flexible and to keep him strong, so we can do that. So
Absolutely.
that is for me, and that comes with his whole balance, of course. That comes with that
Right.
whole body, that comes with the hoofs, that comes with the teeth. We have our responsibility. The veterinary responsibility, the osteopathic responsibility, the farrier responsibility, and I hate it when people tell me, well, can I have a freebie because I actually cannot afford this. If you cannot afford a veterinarian, if you cannot afford a farrier, if you cannot afford the dentist or the osteopath, why do you have the horse?
Correct.
Sorry.
Absolutely. It's unfortunate but true.
Yeah.
It is true. Absolutely.
Then they go like, I saved the horse from the racetrack, and then they cannot afford the maintenance of the horse.
And as an owner, that's your obligation.
That's your obligation. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
To do the right thing for them, won't you?
Absolutely. Okay, so where can people find out more about the Vluggen Institute?
VluggenInstitute.com.
Okay, and you have 2 locations, right?
Yes. We have a location in Waldfeucht Opspringen in Germany, in Nordrhein-Westfalen, so close to Cologne and Düsseldorf, in between there. That's where we're based, and we have a location here in Ocala. And the courses on both sides of the ocean are the same, are on both sides in English, identical. We teach 16 modules over 4 years. For veterinarians and for physical therapists, osteopaths, and non-veterinarians. The non-veterinarians get a pre-pediatric course, so that they are on what we call in Europe a Plato level. Plato level is what a physical therapist needs to know on medical knowledge, a nurse needs to know on medical knowledge. So we do that during our education. For the non-veterinarians and the non-physical therapists and osteopaths, so they get that in their 16 modules.
But they're still getting the education that they would have gotten.
Yes. And for the veterinarians, it's a little shorter than 16 modules, but they still go through that whole course.
Wow.
Yeah, and it is half of it is theory and half of it is hands-on.
Perfect. How long have you been teaching this?
Next year will be 25 years
25 years.
in
Wow.
America.
Wow.
And we've been teaching that longer in Europe. Yeah.
How many students would you say you've had?
Throughout the years, I know that right now we have 700 active students on our Microsoft account.
Wow.
But we must be up to about 1,000.
Wow, that's awesome.
On the 2 locations.
That's awesome.
Worldwide.
And that alone has opened up the doors for the equine industry and for a whole horse approach. So that's wonderful. Can you think of one thing you want the next generation of osteopaths to never forget?
Keep moving them.
Keep moving.
Keep them mobile, keep them balanced.
Yeah.
And keep learning and keep moving forward.
Well, isn't that the basics? Isn't that what we should all follow?
It's a journey that you have to keep following. Osteopathy is a lifestyle. It's a way of life. That's what I always say. And a lot of students say that too, that it has become a way of life.
And so is horseshoeing for us as well. It's a lifestyle. It's a way of life. I mean, to provide a service for athletes and grandma's pet in the backyard that she just wants to go feed him a carrot. You know, the minute you step into that industry, if you don't want it to, if you don't want a demanding life, then don't do it.
It is absolutely demanding, yes. And you have to care.
Yeah.
Absolutely, you have to care. If you don't care for the horse and you're in there for benefits and money, I always say if you do good and you care and you can make a change, money will be okay.
Absolutely.
And that's what I've always seen.
Yeah, and that's always, you know, when I speak at these conferences and stuff like that, and I tell these guys, you know, they ask me, well, how do I make that kind of money? How do I do this? How do I do, you know, how do I take care of the horse?
Take care of the horse. Yeah, the rest will be okay.
Take care of the horse.
Yeah. And with sincerity.
Yeah.
Put the horse first, always.
Yeah.
Always.
And I tell them,
Today it's about the horse.
yeah, and I tell them, and you've probably had the same thing happen to you as well, as, you know, your clients, when you know you're doing right, is when your clients come to tell you, and you need to charge more money.
Yeah.
And I have had that a lot.
Yeah.
You probably as well, you know, and I tell people that, and they think, oh, it's crazy. I'm like, no, you know.
At the end of the day, you have to have a passion for it. If you do
Yes.
not have a passion for it, you will not be successful at it.
And I'm still happy that people are saying, when they talk about Janek Vluggen, that they say, Janek, he has a lot of passion.
Absolutely.
And that, I'm still happy with that. And I'm still happy with what I'm doing. I still love doing horses. And I still have, when I've done horses. And so, yep.
That's what it's all about.
That's what it's all about.
Okay, so I want you to say your name the way it's pronounced, the way it's supposed to be pronounced, because we don't say it the way it's supposed to be pronounced.
In the Dutch language, it says Janek Vluggen.
Okay, well, I will work on that. There's no promises, but I will try.
But I'm so used to hear it in a different way, so
Right,
it doesn't
right.
matter anymore to me.
Yeah.
Well, we could still be calling you, you know, what they thought of you guys in Texas. You know,
Yeah.
we could give you
So
a
you're a
nickname.
ring guy.
Singapore guy.
I'm kind of happy that wore off a little bit off me.
Absolutely, I would be too. I would be too. Okay, well, I think we're going to wrap it up for now. We appreciate you coming to talk to us,
Yes, thank you very
sharing
much.
all of this with us, and with our podcast world out there. This is something that we are very passionate about, and we believe needs to be talked about and incorporated into the equine world, so that all of the horses have the best opportunity to move forward. And we're just thankful that you do have the relationships you do with the other equine practitioners, the veterinarians, the dentists, the farriers. Everybody working together has definitely made a huge you know, success for at least the ones that we know of.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you for being here. We're proud to have you here in Ocala, and we're looking forward to celebrating your 25th year.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity. And I enjoyed it. I hope you did.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.